In the dark waters of the Caribbean, a Venezuelan drug boat is blown out of existence. 11 crew dead. Trump calls them terrorists, warning narco-traffickers the US will hunt them down at sea. But as Washington flexes its naval muscle, Nicolás Maduro vows armed resistance. Is this a crackdown on cartels, or the spark of a wider confrontation? The United States military has carried out a strike against a small vessel in the southern Caribbean, which officials said was linked to the Venezuelan criminal group Tren de Aragua. US President Donald Trump disclosed the operation during an Oval Office appearance on September 2nd, saying that the boat had been destroyed while transporting narcotics, describing the people on board as terrorists and warning others against attempting to move drugs into the United States.
When you come out and when you leave the room, you'll see that we just, over the last few minutes, literally shot out a boat, a drug-carrying boat, a lot of drugs in that boat. And you'll be seeing that and you'll be reading about that. It just happened moments ago. And our great general, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's been so incredible, including what took place in Iran, knocking out potential nuclear power for a long time to come. I think within a month they would have had it if we didn't do what we did. But he gave us a little bit of a briefing, and you'll see. And there's more where that came from. We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And we just, these came out of Venezuela and coming out very heavily from Venezuela. A lot of things are coming out of Venezuela. So we took it out, and you'll get to see that after this meeting is over.
On his Truth Social account, the American president wrote that the strike was conducted under his orders against what he called narco-terrorists operating under the control of Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro. Trump said 11 people were killed in the operation, no US forces were harmed, and the action should serve as notice to anyone planning similar attempts.
Earlier this morning on my orders, U.S. military forces conducted a kinetic strike against positively identified Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility. TDA is a designated foreign terrorist organization, operating under the control of Nicolás Maduro, responsible for mass murder, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and acts of violence and terror across the United States and Western Hemisphere. The strike occurred while the terrorists were at sea in international waters transporting illegal narcotics, heading to the United States. The strike resulted in 11 terrorists killed in action. No U.S. forces were harmed in this strike. Please let this serve as notice to anybody even thinking about bringing drugs into the United States of America. Beware. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
The Trump administration has labeled Tren de Aragua a foreign terrorist organization and linked it to drug and human trafficking. Venezuelan officials have denied the group's activity in recent years, insisting it was dismantled in a 2023 prison raid. Secretary of State Marco Rubio described the mission as a lethal strike on a drug vessel that had departed Venezuela. Speaking to reporters, Rubio said the drugs were likely bound for the Caribbean, contributing to regional instability. Rubio emphasized that the administration intends to use all available tools to confront cartels, arguing that groups trafficking narcotics are terrorizing American communities.
Well, the president made the announcement and said it was a lethal strike. I think the Pentagon will have more details and other things to offer you here in the next few hours, hopefully.
So what kind of a vessel it was? Yeah, vessel.
The drug vessel was carrying drugs.
Size?
I'll refer you to the Pentagon. They'll give you more details on that when in the next, I anticipate shortly, probably while we're in the air.
How many deaths with the lethal force?
Again, look, I'm trying to be evasive. I'll let the Pentagon answer that. Suffice it to say that the president is going to be on offense against drug cartels and drug trafficking in the United States. It destabilizes not just the country, but the entire Caribbean basin. These particular drugs were probably headed to Trinidad or some other country in the Caribbean, at which point they just contribute to the instability these countries are facing. So the president's been very clear that he's going to use the full power of America and the full might of the United States to take on and eradicate these drug cartels, no matter where they're operating from and no matter how long they've been able to act with impunity. Those days are over.
The operation follows Washington's decision to increase its naval presence in the Caribbean, a move that has already heightened tensions with Caracas. While speaking in Caracas on September 2nd, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro accused the US of using a Hollywood-style narrative about terrorism to hide its intent to seize the country's vast natural resources.
Mandan 8 barcos de guerra.
They send 8 warships, they point 1,200 missiles at our heads, they send a nuclear submarine. When have they ever sent that to any other place on the planet? And they send it because they invent a story, a tale that nobody believes. The youth of the United States doesn't believe the lies of the top dog in the White House, Marco Rubio, because the one who really runs the White House is Marco Rubio, the Miami mafia that wants to stain President Donald Trump's hands with blood. They created a Hollywood-style narrative about terrorism. But the terrorists, they were all theirs. Osama bin Laden was trained by them. And with the image of terrorism, they also invented the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. It was a lie. The people of the United States know it, and many people over there are listening to us. Sensible people from all political backgrounds, conservative, right-wing, progressive. They know it in the United States. They lied and killed 1 million Iraqis. Then they lied, militarily occupied and destroyed Afghanistan. And then they fled from Afghanistan. They lied and killed 200,000 Libyans.
Maduro further alleged that US interests extend beyond oil to include Venezuela's gas, gold, and fertile land.
But they're coming, truly coming. And you know why they're coming. For Venezuelan oil. They want it for free. For the gas. We have the world's largest oil reserves here in Venezuela, and that oil doesn't belong to Maduro, and even less to the gringos. It belongs to you. That oil is yours. Did you hear? Yours, the children, the young people. Those world-leading oil reserves belong to the people of Venezuela. We have the 4th largest gas reserves in the world. And who does that gas belong to? Venezuela. We have one of the largest gold reserves, and that's just the start. They're coming for the natural resources, the fertile land. They're coming for Venezuela's riches. But they're also coming for a second kind of wealth, perhaps even more powerful than the rest. They are coming for Venezuela's riches, but they're also coming for a second kind of wealth that may be more powerful than any other. Do you know what that wealth is? The project of Simon Bolivar, the revolutionary project of 21st century socialism. They are coming to try to destroy at its root the greatest project our America has ever had. The liberating project of the great Simon Bolivar, of the great Antonio José de Sucre. They want to put an end to the example of what we are building.
Turning to migration, he criticized US policies, accusing the Trump administration of mistreating Latin American migrants.
Over there, the Miami Mafia. Yes, the Miami Mafia that persecutes migrants. Because all those migrants they are expelling, persecuting, tearing their families apart, taking away their apartments, their cars, their cell phones. All those migrants, Colombians, Venezuelans, Cubans in Miami, who is targeting them? Who is going after them? It's the Miami Mafia. Marco Rubio, the top dog in the White House and the State Department, who wants to stain the Trump name with blood. The Trump name. They come with their narratives, their manipulations, their lies, and we come with our deep truth. And our truth is this: the people of Venezuela are united. They want peace, and they will have peace. Let there be peace. And may the youth of the United States open their eyes to the fact that in Venezuela there is a true grassroots democracy, and that the country's budget is not spent on wars, not spent on invasions, not spent on launching missiles and bombs at other peoples. Venezuela's budget is invested in the projects that the youth decide on, where the people, as the foundation, make the decisions. That is what they want to destroy. But I say this from the neighborhoods of Caracas, from my school, from this university where I studied. I say it loud and clear. In Venezuela, there will be peace with sovereignty, with the people, with equality, with democracy, with freedom. And they haven't been able to defeat us, and they will never, ever be able to. Never.
The warning comes as the United States expands its military presence in the Caribbean. In recent weeks, Washington has deployed guided missile destroyers, cruisers, and amphibious assault ships, along with more than 4,000 Marines and sailors. The Trump administration has framed the build-up as part of an anti-narcotics campaign aimed at disrupting cartels it accuses of operating with the backing of Maduro's government. Rubio has called Maduro's administration a narco-terrorist cartel, saying US forces are on the offensive against drug networks moving shipments north. Critics, however, question the scale of the build-up, likening it to using disproportionate force for limited aims.
Again, I'll let the operators discuss all of that, but I thought it was, the president was very clear, and that is we destroyed a drug boat that left Venezuela, operated by a designated narco-terrorist organization, which is what these are. And he's been clear that the days of acting with impunity and having an engine shot down or a couple drugs grabbed off a boat, those days are over. Now we are going to wage combat against drug cartels that are flooding American streets and killing Americans.
Despite his combative tone, Maduro has acknowledged ongoing back-channel contacts with Washington, including envoys who have shuttled between the two capitals in recent months. While relations remain strained, he expressed hope they could be repaired, calling Trump an intelligent leader capable of avoiding escalation. The Venezuelan leader, however, has described the US naval deployment as the greatest threat the region has faced in a century.